Why being too nice backfires in dating. Most men grow up with a simple belief. If you are nice to women, they will like you. If you're respectful, they will appreciate you. If you treat her well, she will choose you. It sounds right. It sounds fair. It sounds like the kind of advice that should work in the real world. And because it sounds so reasonable, most men follow it without questioning it. They become kind. They become patient. They become understanding. They try to be the good guy. And at first, it feels like the right approach. But then something confusing happens. They give their time. They give their attention. They show genuine interest. And instead of attraction growing, it fades. She becomes distant. She stops replying the same way. She places them in a category they didn't expect, the just a friend category. And now everything feels confusing because you're sitting there thinking, if I'm doing everything right, why isn't it working? If I'm treating her well, why is she pulling away? And maybe the most frustrating thought of all, why is she giving attention to someone who isn't doing all of this? That's the moment where most men feel stuck because they were told one thing, but reality is showing them something completely different. And the truth is, the problem is not kindness. The problem is what being too nice actually becomes when it goes too far. 1. Kindness versus too nice, the difference most men miss. Let's start by clearing something up very clearly. Kindness is not a weakness. Respect is not a weakness. Treating someone well is not a weakness. In fact, those qualities are important. They matter in relationships. They matter in long-term connection. They matter for trust and emotional stability. But that's not what people mean when they say a man is too nice. What they are really describing is a pattern where a man starts to lose himself in the process of trying to be liked. A pattern where he prioritizes her feelings above his own. A pattern where he avoids anything that could create discomfort, even if it means hiding who he really is. A pattern where he becomes agreeable, even when he doesn't truly agree. That is not confidence. That is not strength. That is insecurity expressed through behavior that looks like kindness on the surface. And attraction responds very differently to insecurity than it does to genuine confidence, because one feels stable and the other feels uncertain. 2. Why too nice doesn't feel attractive. Attraction is not just about actions. It's about how those actions feel to the other person. A genuinely confident and kind man feels grounded. He can be respectful without needing anything in return. He can be generous without expecting validation. He can be present without trying to control the outcome. That feels natural. That feels calm. That feels attractive. But a too nice man feels different. His behavior is often driven by something deeper. Fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing her attention. And because of that fear, his actions start to change. He agrees too quickly. He avoids disagreement. He overexplains himself. He tries to make everything smooth all the time. And even if he doesn't say it directly, the energy behind it is felt. It feels like he is trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, trying not to lose the connection. And that effort, when it becomes too much, creates pressure, and pressure reduces attraction. 3. The approval loop. One of the most damaging parts of being too nice is the need for approval. Instead of expressing himself naturally, a man starts adjusting everything he does based on how he thinks she will react. He begins to filter his personality. He hides certain opinions. He avoids saying things that might create disagreement. Not because he wants to, but because he's trying to maintain her interest. And slowly, he enters a loop. He says something and waits for approval. He acts a certain way and watches her reaction. He adjusts again based on that reaction. Now everything he does is influenced by her response. He is no longer being himself. He is reacting. And when someone is constantly reacting instead of expressing, it becomes predictable. And more importantly, it becomes less real because attraction needs authenticity. It needs something genuine to connect to. And when someone is constantly adjusting themselves, that authenticity disappears. 4. Why too nice removes attraction tension. Attraction needs emotional movement. It needs variation. It needs moments of lightness and moments of seriousness. It needs a sense that something is happening. When a man is too nice, everything becomes smooth. Too smooth. There is no challenge, no pushback, no unpredictability. Everything becomes agreeable. And while that may seem like a good thing, it removes something essential. Tension. Not negative tension, but emotional contrast. The kind that makes interactions feel alive. Without that, everything becomes flat. And when something feels flat, interest begins to fade. 5. You stop feeling like a choice. Another important shift happens when you become too nice. You stop feeling like someone who chooses, and you start feeling like someone who is waiting to be chosen. When you're always available, always agreeable, always trying to please, it sends a subtle message. It shows that you're more focused on keeping her than deciding if she fits you. And that changes the dynamic completely, because attraction is stronger when it feels mutual. When both people feel like they have value. When both people feel like they are choosing each other. Not when one person is constantly trying to win the other over. 6. Overgiving and loss of value. Being too nice often leads to giving too much too soon. Too much attention. Too much time. Too much emotional investment. And while giving is not a problem, timing matters. Because when you give everything too early, you remove the natural progression of attraction. There is no build-up, no anticipation, no gradual increase in connection. Everything is given at once. And when something is given all at once, it loses its depth, because depth comes from time, from experience, from gradual discovery. 7. Boundaries create respect. Respect is a core part of attraction, and respect is built through boundaries. When you have clear boundaries, you show that you value yourself. You show that you are not willing to accept anything just to keep someone around. But when you are too nice, boundaries disappear. You tolerate things you shouldn't. You avoid addressing issues. You ignore behavior that doesn't align with you. And over time, that reduces respect, because people are naturally drawn to those who respect themselves. And self-respect is shown through action, not words. What actually works? The solution is not to stop being kind. The solution is balance. To be kind, but also confident. To be respectful, but also assertive. To care, but not depend on the outcome. To give, but not overgive. To show interest, but not lose yourself in the process. Because real attraction is built on strength, presence, and authenticity, not approval-seeking behavior. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop trying to be liked by everyone. You stop adjusting yourself just to maintain attention. And you start showing up as yourself, with clarity, with confidence, and with balance. And that is where real attraction begins.